Point, your pulse on trending news. Stay connected to our channel.
What has triggered this decision to go get protest on August the 10th?
Well, it is the defiance of the federal government, especially that of his refusal to accede to our demand, the assault that has been, and even journalists like yourself, it has, gingered us further to get over 1 million people on the streets in each state, the 6 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory.
Well, let me ask you for clarification. When you say you're leading 1 million persons march 6 states and Abuja, do you mean that you're going to mobilize 37 million people across Nigeria, or 1 million people collectively in all the 36 states and Abuja?
37 people across Nigeria.
37 million
people across Nigeria.
Well, that's a bit ambitious, isn't it?
Well, we are a country of over 220 million people. So getting 7 million people on the streets to protest against bad governance is not a big deal.
Yeah, but you said that the president had not hearkened to your demands.
Yes.
I mean, did you just expect to walk out on the street? I mean, he talked about dialogue. He talked about communicating, sitting down and talking. Shouldn't you give them a chance to communicate with you before you then make this move?
There are several means of communication. We do not sit down, we do not dialogue behind closed doors. We asked, for example, here in Abuja, we asked to use the Eagle Square as the venue for convergence for protesters. But the minister of the FCT some week denied us that venue, and the place was barricaded by the military and police officers and the DA. So we are not interested in any closed door meeting or any closed door, behind door dialogue. If the president wants to dialogue, he should come to Eagle Square and speak to Nigerians, millions of Nigerians, both in Nigeria and in the diaspora. He should come speak to us the way he was there on May 29 or on June 12.
Right. So where are you going to hold this march in Abuja, for example? Because you said you were prevented from going to Eagle Square the last time.
Despite the,
cost of living march into an governance movement, and from that evolving into 1 million person march on August the 10th, 2 days hence. I mean, you've got all your guns blazing, haven't you? You're really piling on the pressure.
Definitely. The president deserves that. The federal government deserves even much more pressure. The cost of living is exacerbated. People just keep buzzing, demanding financial support. People are hungry, they can't afford. Now people are being paid minimum wage. Now he recently signed asking people to be paid per month. 70,000 for an average 9. You know, the cost of living has risen. We announced the fuel subsidy removal last year. So you don't expect us to just sit at home while he's something. You guys should go back in. You know, with time this would happen. Man bought private jets. He built for his deputy, the vice president. So we're asking him just to do the basics. Give Nigerian workers 250,000 naira minimum fuel subsidy removal. See, these are just few demands. Politically imprisoned persons or detained persons. These things are not hard to do. You could do it. Yeah.
I'm going to come to those detained persons in a minute, but just in response to the things you say that are not the hardship, say agricultural produce given temporary to those who are very poor. They distributed tens of tons of grain reserve. People to be patient. Clearly, your patience has worn thin.
Proof it's not evidence in the public. People, you can see it in the house. If he says he's doing, probably his minions are poor. He claimed to be citizens. Citizens are hungry. These things are not getting to the poorest of Nigerians. People can't even afford 3 square meals per day. So if the president says he's doing an agricultural revolution or whatever he calls it,
he's not Harry, is he? He can't.
We are not asking.
It sounds like what you're asking. Well, wave a magic in a year. Everything
when he announced the removal of the fuel subsidy last year on May 29, while he was being sworn in, he didn't do any more. And since then, we've got into trouble. To do the same thing now and
say
into our health.
Fuel subsidy is back on.
It's simple as that.
Yeah. Well, of all your demands, and there are quite a few of them, of all your demands, perhaps the most constitutional of Nigeria, which you say is of the political and disaster that this country has been, and the failure of successive governments to meet the fundamental objectives of security well addressed with utmost. You heard anything in that regard?
Yeah, we haven't heard him say anything during his last.
But I mean, it's the job not the National Assembly.
Definitely, we are not. But of course, it could mean it to the National Assembly to work on that. And the government that we are facing, we are also demanding from the 36th FCT minister, and also. Right. So it's not just about Kumbu, it's about the system.
And that's why making it to all the states.
Definitely.
And to make sure that the noise that you make is heard in the states.
Yeah, it has been heard everywhere. Protests in Kano, Rivers, in everywhere.
Right. So what's the situation with your colleagues who've been arrested and are currently being detained? Are they still being held? Because at one point, I think the secret police, the DSS, said they were not the ones holding one of your colleagues, Michael Lenin.
Yeah, that is a lie. The DSS picked Lenin on August 5th at his around 2 a.m. midnight, and he was taken to a place where he didn't know, but later he was detained at the intelligence response unit of the Inspector General of Police, the former South Guzape. So, they have been there. They've been there since. They went there today. Before I got into the studio, I was just informed that alongside Len released, but they got an order from the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, that list. Right. I don't know why Mr. Ribadu wants to keep Lenin in detention, but he has to come and Lenin has done nothing wrong, only exercising his rights. The government has no reason to detain him.
Indeed. Worried that there's a rise in anger? Because, I mean, people we saw protesting were angry, perhaps justified, but they were clearly worried that as voices rise in anger, that decorum could unravel and things could get really dark and violent.
Well, we don't think so. We have always been peaceful. We didn't just start yesterday. We've always been here, and we've always been peaceful. However, even the threats of violence that occurred during those last 8 days came from the side of the police, the DSS. The DSS shot us at the national stage. The same venue which the government got a court order for. Of course, the court order has elapsed just yesterday because it was a 7-day and it has elapsed. So let's do not. Even think that such an order should have been given, which infringes on the rights of Nigerians. However, Nigeria will keep on protesting. Never stop, even